Welcome to episode 148 of the Knitting Samurai and Her Guys video podcast. I'm your host, Steph, also known as the Knitting Samurai, and here we are in the living room. And do you hear that? Yep, I hear it. It's the post-Christmas silence. Isn't it glorious? So I just take those off. Although there's nothing to reflect, so maybe it's fine. Well, whatever. I just kissed my boys and sent them off to daycare school and work for Steve. And I'm home today. It's December 30th. And it's officially the end of the year in my mind in terms of my knitting year. And in a little bit, Mom and I are going to place the final order for the cabinets because yes! Thank you so much for all of your well wishes and positive thoughts and prayers and all the help you sent me through the universe, calling down. We did get the house, so it was great. The Saturday before, so like the 19th, everything was off. The appraisal came back. That was the last piece we were waiting on, and it came back far too low for what we needed. And pulled some strings, worked some magic, and it's okay. Everything worked out. We're still able to do the renovation as much as we want because we had talked about, okay, what can we cut? So maybe we don't make a family room in the basement, but it's all coming together. It's all going to happen. Mike, our carpenter, started 2 days ago. He's already started, you guys. That's crazy. My mother is serving as our general contractor, so she's coordinating the plumber, the electrician, all those guys. So they've done this a lot. My parents have renovated, I think, 3 or 4 houses, and they built 2. So they have lots of experience working with this stuff, and I'm so thankful to have their help and their guidance and years of experience. And you know, I have my taste, which can sometimes be a little bit out there, and so she's a good voice of, well, that's not so commercially resaleable, you know, people don't really like black cabinets right now. That's not the trend. So as beautiful as I think they are, I think we're gonna go with white kitchen cabinets, like a silver black, gray, white, marl, speckled granite countertop, and then stainless appliances. And the compromise is that I get these really modern pewter, long pewter handles on everything. So yeah, so it's coming together. This so much. It's just so exciting. Steve spent Monday there. See, I'm gushing. I'm sorry. Skip ahead about 5 minutes. I'll flag my hands like this when I'm done talking about the house if you're only interested in knitting, because this is a knitting podcast. But Steve spent Monday over there with Mike, our carpenter, and because the back deck, it was like a 12 by 12 deck. We're just replacing it with the same size deck. So it's not a huge deck, but it was so unloved. It had actually fallen off the house, and there were brambles growing up through it, and it was just a mess. If you're friends with me or follow me on Instagram, you'll see the before, middle, and end pictures. So Steve cut the brush, and then Mike took down the deck in pieces, and so that's gone. And then yesterday, Mike was there, Steve was at work, and he took down the wall. So there's a wall between a T-shaped wall, or there was, it's not there anymore, between the living room, dining room, and kitchen. And that's where the refrigerator had been. There's no plumbing in the wall, thank you. And we wanted to take that T-shaped wall down just to really open up the space. We're used to a more open concept house. And so we're taking out that wall, and then sort of closer to the kitchen side, we're putting in an island, which I'm calling my command center. So it's an eat-in island, so there's space for the 4 of us to sit and eat. And then from that spot, I can see down the hall into the boys' playroom, and I could see out the front door, if it's open, you know, like a glass screen door. So I could see out the front door and the front windows to the driveway. If someone comes in, I could see in the living room to the TV. I could turn around and see out the backyard to the deck and the woods beyond. So it's my command center. It's the hub of the ship of the house. It's where I'm visioning myself standing and helping the boys do homework and eat cookies and snacks after school or whatever. And I'm just so excited. It's where I'm going to wrap presents. It's where I'm going to do all the things that you do in a kitchen. So, it's coming together, guys. I can't believe it. So, I told you Roland named the house, right? Yeah, he named it Kai. What else? Short for Coyote. I think that's it. I could just gush all day about the little things. So, today's plan, when I'm done talking to you and knitting and drinking my coffee, so we're getting the cabinets and we're going to pick out the bathroom vanities and medicine cabinet things on the top. So, it's exciting. I'm sorry. Maybe I should try and contain it to a segment of the show. But I think if you've been with me for a while, you'll understand my excitement over this and just getting out of the 2-bedroom condo and getting some space from my family, for my boys to play in, because right now there is crazy all around. But you know how it is after Christmas. Christmas happened. Happy New Year coming up to you. Yeah, all the new toys come in, and even though a couple days before Christmas, Ro and I took a 30-gallon bin and we went through the toys upstairs and we went through the toys down here, and he was such a help putting in, okay honey, what don't you want? He pretty much didn't want Tristan's toys. Those were the toys he wanted. But together we filled a 30-gallon bin. So one of the big ones, they put it out in the garage, and in 3 months we'll bring it back in, and whatever they don't want to play with right away goes to Goodwill. So there's still toys everywhere. It was great Christmas. Great Christmas. So much fun was had. Santa came and he brought superheroes, so I made it until Ro was 4 before we started in on the fighting toys. Because I would raise a little pacifist if given a choice, but the superhero Marvel influence is just too strong in this family. So, so we got those from Santa, and Tristan got little mini versions for, like, I think they were for 2-year-olds, of Spider-Man and Dr. Octopus, so he could have his own to play with, because there is some of that, like, I want whatever Roland has with him. And then Santa brought him a wagon that is a Mega Bloks wagon vacuuming thing. It was cool. Yeah, and by far, we would call this the Octonauts Christmas, because he got lots of Gup vehicles, all of the characters from the TV show. The Octonauts is a TV show, 15-minute episodes, and they do one sea creature, and so you learn about it, like 3 facts about here's this animal, and it's cute, and Ro really enjoys watching it, and I don't mind it, so that's always a bonus with a kids show. And I feel like we learned something. Like, I've learned a lot. Whether or not Ro is learning anything, I'll know these facts about the different kinds of, like, what was it last night that we watched? The Infinity Jellyfish, I think. Anyways, my favorite is the Mimic Octopus. So, so he got a bunch of Octonaut stuff. Tristan got a little bit too. Has absolutely no interest in the Octonaut stuff. So good to know. Tristan's big gift was, I have a upright canister Dyson animal vacuum, right? It's massive, it's wonderful. I also have a Roomba, but I really like my Dyson vacuum, right? And we run the Roomba all the time, but the Dyson is just like, okay, let me really get a deep clean, right? So when that comes out, I am like very focused using it. My mother-in-law was able to find a mini kids Dyson. I can't even imagine how much she paid for this thing, because it looks exactly like mine, and it has different on buttons you can push to make it make different sounds, just like mine. You know, the floor feature versus the rug feature versus the pull out the hose. And oh my god, Tristan hasn't stopped playing with it since we got it. It is the most adorable / now it's getting obnoxious because that little like background humming noise, but he's so excited. And you know how with upright vacuums, when they kind of lock in place, and then you put your foot on I'm putting my foot down on the head of it and pull it back to unlock it? Well, he's been doing that. It's so cute, because his doesn't, I guess it does do it. It stands up, but it doesn't lock upright. But my father-in-law was like, why does he keep putting his foot on the vacuum? He's doing what I do. And he also is very adamant about vacuuming under couches. So apparently that's what I do, is just I walk around and I get under the couch. It's been cute. They were really good boys. Christmas went a lot better with Roland this year than it did last year. So it's kind of holding to our theory that, you know, the odd years have been the challenging years with him, right? So when he was 1, and it's Tristan is a challenge right now too. So that 1 year, first year was 2s, terrible 2s, didn't happen. 2 was fine. 3 was again a challenge, and now 4 is pretty easy. So we'll see if it continues that way. But he was really good. There was only one point where he got upset about, you know, wanting to open a present. But so I would call it a Christmas success. 11 minutes into the show, it's finally time for some knitting talk. Let me pull out my notes here. All right. So first up, I need to find some blockers because I have another pair of finished socks. And I find this quite amazing. So they are ankle length socks, shorty socks, but still, it's a finished pair. So these I pulled out 2 weeks ago, like not long. Let me back up for a second and say that my knitting has been less than spectacular as of late because of, you know, the stress of Christmas leading up to it. And by the time I'm getting to knitting, Christmas and house buying, I am a little bit brain dead and don't really have the mental fortitude to jump into like the color work sweater I was working on for Tris. I haven't touched it still again. It's probably been a month since Thanksgiving. Yeah, it's been a long time. Just because I carry it around, it's with me, but I'm just not there mentally to do that. So socks have been back on the needles and I've been enjoying knitting them. And now that I put these on the blockers, I'm seeing something a little interesting. All right, so these are for my dad, who I thought wore a size 11 shoe, and I just double checked my notes, and I think he wears a size 10, so these may be really big on him, because Steve wears an 11, and I made them size I would have made for Steve. So, and Steve will not wear these. So I put little stitch markers, progress keepers on them to show where I was last time. So, right, that's crazy progress. I had just 2 little toes, and I went to town on these. So this is, because I know you really love this neon. So the yarn is Online Super Sock 4 neon color in 1754. I knit them using US size 1s, 2.25 millimeter needles. They're toe up construction, and they're standard 2x2 rib on the top of the foot. That's what I like to do, makes them snug. I did the fish lips kiss heel, so I have not knit any socks for my dad with a fish lips kiss heel. And I have to say, since he's been retired man, and it's winter, probably since October, every time I see him, he has on a different pair of hand knit socks I've made him. So he is, retired man definitely appreciates wool socks. And I know my mom keeps the house really cold. She's kind of hot. Yeah, so, and they come over here and she's like, oh my God, it's crazy hot. And he's like, this is nice. So, so yeah, he's been wearing his hand knit wool socks. So I knew he needed another new pair. But like I said last time, he rolls them down. So that's why I decided to make them so short. What else can I tell you? They look like bumblebee socks, right? But right in here, so there's a thick stripe of what looks like black to your eye. It looks like black right now to my eye, then a thin, then a thick, then thick, right? In the thick section, it's actually a stripe of black and a stripe of navy blue. And unless you are in bright sunlight, you can't tell. I don't know who designed that, but so they're sort of bumblebee-esque, but anyway, so these are done off my needles for my dad. They're pretty hefty, and I consciously thought and knit them at a tighter gauge just because some of the ones that he's wearing, like the yellow pair I knit him probably 5 years ago. I dyed the yarn yellow. Yellow's his favorite color. I dyed the yarn and then I knit it for him. They are very floppy, you know. Like, I maybe should tell him to throw them in the dryer a few times just to help tighten them up. Yeah, so I was trying to knit these at a tighter gauge so that they will be nice and tight and warm and useful for him. So I'm excited to have these off the needles. So yay! And I don't want to jinx it, But I think my sock mojo's back because I'm already thinking about the next pair I can be working on. So, and the next pair for me to be working on would be in a bag, in a blue bag, in a blue fat squirrel bag. There we go. Oh, and these have been in my Erin Lane bag that I got at the first SSK. So, I don't typically enjoy drawstrings bags, but this is a really pretty fabric, and I've enjoyed having it with me. So in this bag, Fat Squirrel Speaks bag, I have, you saw this at Thanksgiving, the first one. Again, more neon yellow sock yarn. I had purchased this for my dad, and then I got it from Webb's, and then I got it home, and I was like, no. So these will likely be for me or my cousin, who's the same size foot. And so I finished this one at Thanksgiving, and I have about 3.5 inches on the second one. Same thing, toe up construction. This one I'm going to do Wendy Johnson's toe up slip stitch heel pattern, which is my go-to sock heel. Although fish lips it's wearing me down here, folks, let me tell you. But I need to knit a few more fish lips kiss heels for my people that I knit socks for, Mom, Dad, Sherry, my mother-in-law, Steve, and get everybody wearing them and really get a good feel of how people feel about them versus the traditional heel flap construction that the slip stitch pattern gives. So yeah, not much to say about it. I'm knitting it on 0s, 2mm needles, which are my preferred size. I like them very small, and these are my carbons, or Knitter's Pride, but they're not carbons. They're probably platina. I don't know what this is. These are 2mm as well. I think they're a Knitter's Pride. Whatever this blue cord is, maybe they're Haya. I think at Stitches a couple years ago, I got a set of Haya to try. Whatever this blue cord is, if you know what the light blue cord is, please let me know. I'm not a fan of these needles. I like the needle tips themselves, but in terms of magic looping, this cord has too much memory for my liking. So I was not a fan of using that, but it was, and I also knit with my knit picks. And I'm kind of falling out of love with them. I don't know. Maybe it's the size. And I just really like the little light, because the cables are essentially the same. It's just a color difference. But those are what I use. Those are what I'm happy with. I like my pointy metal needles. Lightweight. They make me happy. So that's that. The Colorwork Knit Along is still going strong. Thank you all for participating over there. I should do another prize drawing, shouldn't I? Okay. I'll do one next time for pattern of the person's choosing. Let me write that down so I remember. Because I'll do it ahead of time. I don't like to do it on air. Pattern. Okay. So keep chatting it up. And the Colorwork Knit Along goes until the 15th. And as much as I love Colorwork, like I said, my brain just isn't there right now. And I'm sad because my bestie's husband is coming home and I haven't knit his Christmas gift yet. Bad friend. And we're probably going to see them over New Year's. So he's a merchant marine. I don't know. He ships out for 3 months at a time. So there's that going on. Chat it up. Love to see it. Chatter is eligible for prize drawing. So Save the Baby Whale sweater. I said I haven't really been working on that. Okay, I have to tell you one more thing. The sweater knit along that I had thrown out last time for January, I'm going to take it off. It's not going to happen. I want to, but I feel like there's too much going on right now with the house. And I will be pleased with myself if I continue my recording schedule of every 10 days or so between now and March when we move in. Probably maybe end of April. It might be hairy to find free time when I can sit and chat with you that I will even have knitting progress. I mean, this is a lot going on with the house, and then packing up everything and moving is a lot too, right? And so thankfully it's a little bit quieter at work right now. It won't be come February. February is a crazy time for me. So So I'm not going to do a sweater knit along. If you are interested in knitting a sweater and want to post progress pictures or open a thread, please feel free to. I'm happy to have you guys do that, but in terms of my brain power of organizing, I don't have it right now. So I'm not going to do it, so I take it off. I'm sorry. I did cast on a new project though yesterday. So it snowed for the first time here in New Hampshire yesterday. We got probably 6 inches and people were crazy. People went crazy. Oh my God, it's been 70 degrees, 60, 70 degrees, and now we have snow and we hate snow. When it was 70 degrees, they hated that it was warm. And now that it's snowing, they hate that it's snowing. Nobody's ever happy with the weather. Maybe it's an age thing that I'm with older people and so I hear about it a lot more. But me, myself, I don't really care. We bundled up. We cranked the heat up to 800 degrees and the boys and I drove into work. Like, I wasn't having a snow day cooped up at this house with them after Christmas break just happened. So we went into work, but we did leave a little early because I left my desk at 3:15 and it was 4 o'clock before I got in the car. Between getting the boys, getting them bundled, scraping off the car, getting the car, out, it got stuck in the parking. Like, they plowed us all in and I couldn't get out of the bank. So it was 4 o'clock, so it was almost 5 by the time we got home. And Steve had been home all afternoon because his office closed down. He went to the grocery store, came home, made dinner. So I had a little bit of free time last night. So I was doing a little project prepping and planning ahead of what I think I'm going to be doing next. So I'll just share quickly that because I really do want to do color work. I just need to get myself a little bit more organized. The Megan Williams pattern that I've been talking about for weeks, I got my needles, I kitted it up with some yarn in a project bag. It is ready to go, and that's the combination I'm going to do because I love those colors together. That's Knit Picks Swish Worsted in Tide Pool Heathers, and the no longer available it's a nice heather teal color, and the other one is a pretty red, cherry red, rose red. So I'm getting closer. I've got the needles in the bag and the pattern printed out. The only thing I'll need at this point is a stitch marker. So that's ready to go, and that's in a Silver Shed USA bag. Oh. You see, I unconsciously connected them. It's funny. The other thing I was thinking about, well, there's one more thing. So my sock mojo is back, and I talked about knitting these for my cousin. These are it's a free pattern, Patton's stretch socks. They're Tola's yoga socks. So, and I'll probably end up doing it my own way, toe up, but just to get their idea of construction and how long the foot should be, how much of the toes should be covered. I wanted to print out a pattern. And then this is a skein of Opal Little Prints yarn in the color 7764. I'm not even going to try and say that color, but she really likes purples and blues, so I thought that would be a good fit for her. So that's in a bag with needles ready to go. Are you seeing the theme? And then this is a piddle loop bag with matching. Oh, I did put all my notions in here. That's where the stitch markers are. Remind me later when I'm looking for stitch markers that that's where all of them are. And then lastly, Boston Jennifer Lassonde designed a new pattern. You've heard of it, The View from the Charles. She designed this probably a couple months ago. It came out, I want to say September, October time frame. She gifted me a pattern, a copy, and she's generously offered to give away a pattern copy to one of you guys. So I will open a prize drawing thread for this, and I'll draw for that next time. So if you are interested in knitting along this pattern with me, which I've already started, go over and leave a comment. It's a great pattern. It's 9 pages long for a shawl, which kind of surprised me, but it's, just what you'd expect from Jennifer. The way she designed patterns has counts on every single row, boxes to check off. It's just so comprehensive. It's everything you need to that she has taken what is a sort of not super complicated so far. I haven't gotten very far. I've just finished the first section. A semi-complicated pattern and turned it into something that's mindless, which is what we all love to knit, right? Mindless knitting. So I was pulling out skeins, and last night I thought it was and this is a bird-like bag. I'm having a tour of all my bags. So my winter theme is typically blue, snowflakes and blue. So I switched out of my summer themes. So I went through my sock yarn bin last night, and it's funny, I pulled out 8 skeins that I was thinking of, different combinations to use for this, and the one I ended up casting on is an Into the World club color that I have. And I think it was December when I was doing this, but I was knitting a Jennifer Lasson pattern with Into the World, and then I gave it as a Christmas gift. So it was a little bit earlier, but something about those two go together in my mind. So I also thought that this pattern, from looking at it, it's a gradient yarn. This one's gradient, but quickly glancing at it and not reading anything, I thought I needed 3 colors. So I was looking for 3 color combinations. Then when I actually sat down to cast on, I realized that I do not need 3. I only need 2, but I still might make it 3. So I really like these together. Teal's my favorite color, so what a surprise. And chartreuse is my mom's, so I don't know. Those are big in my world. So thinking of those 2 together, but I also pulled out this other skein of Into the World. This one is Manchester sock, so this is super soft. And I was seeing that one with a nice green or this green. So, as I said, I've chose this one, and I also had a Zombie Prom by Miss Babs. I had that out with a purple. I had used those to work on that really long scarf shawl thing that was knit. It's a knit to by Martina Bem. I cannot think of the name. Hopefully you're thinking of it for me. But I had paired the purple, orange, and pink with the Zombie Prom, and so I pulled out the same color combinations to do a second shawl, and ended up saying no, I don't want to recreate the wheel. And this teal is just peeking out and really wants me to knit it, and so does this. This was one of the did I use it in Tristan's blanket? No, I didn't, but I thought about using it, and that's why I purchased it with the plan of using it. So this is what I have so far. I did go down a needle size because I remember that from the last Jennifer Lasson pattern I tried to do. I just need to go down a needle size from what she recommends. So I'm using US size 6s, and I like it so far. It's great. As I said, it's mindless knitting with the way she has it charted up. And I'm trying to look. Yeah, pretty much a garter stitch shawl with other cool things going on. So it's fun. I really like it so far. So I am going to modify it just a little bit because, and this is sort of why I didn't cast on immediately when I got the pattern. I like a more shallow shawl than real long pointed, and that's part of the design of this shawl, is that it goes to your waist. It's a really long, deep shawl. So I've already mixed in some increases earlier or in places where it doesn't call for increases, just to try and follow the stitch count, but shorten it up a little bit. So we'll see how that turns out. I don't know. Could be crazy. Might not like it, but I'm trying it. I'm a maverick. So I'm gonna leave that out because I just got a phone call from the boss, and she says 15 minutes and I have to be ready to go. So let's keep on trigging. That's what's going on there. Want to do a 2015 recap? Because I do! Alright, so in 2015, you ready? I'm going to read some stats because I love stats. Okay. My shorts on black. How do I haven't been flashing this one? I mean, I have an undershirt, but I normally don't show off my undershirts. might clash with the couch, maybe. I hope it's okay. So I did 34 projects this year. Okay, are you ready? That was 14,700 yards. And last year, 2014, I did 64 projects. If that isn't a testament to having 2 children, I don't know what is. So I feel like I knit a lot. I don't feel like I've cut back on my knitting because my yardage in 2014 was 16.4 thousand. So I'm down a couple thousand yards, but definitely fewer projects. So fewer larger projects, which kind of makes sense when you think about the fact that I knit a baby blanket and 3 adult sweaters. So those are more long-term projects. So the project that used the most yards, right, where I focused the most of my energy was Tristan's barn raising quilt. That took just over 2,000 yards. And then the second largest project I knit was the Miranda sweater for me. That took 1,100 yards. The project that took the least yards were the magic slippers that I knit for Roland. There's a great pattern. I think it's free. Pretty sure it's free. And that took 112 yards. I would highly recommend it for anyone who wants to do kiddo slippers. For kids that won't slip on hardwood floors, right? Because they are a bit slippery, but he's old enough that he doesn't need grippers on his socks anymore. I was wondering if I knit more worsted weight or fingering weight projects, so I looked at that. I did 1 bulky project, 8 worsted projects, 5 sport weight projects. This is not adding up. I don't know why my hand is going. And then by far, 19 projects with fingering weight. So that is my preferred weight of yarn this year. In terms of what type of products I produced that I knit, I knit 1 of the following. So I knit 1 blanket, 1 hat, which is crazy. Like the year before I knit 6 or 7. So 1 blanket, 1 hat, 1 pair of slippers. I knit 2 kid sweaters, and what I'm calling a kid is like toddler and above. So it's more of an investment, 500 yards or more, kind of in my head. So 2 kid sweaters and 2 pairs of mittens. I knit 3 shawls, which is like, you could tell from my shawl collection, it needs to be, because I weed them out, and it needs to be revamped. So I'm going to try and knit a few more shawls this year. But last year, I knit 3 shawls and then 3 adult sweaters for me. I knit, are you ready for this? 7 baby sweaters. So that was definitely a recurring theme this year. You know, swapped out the hats for the baby sweaters. And I like knitting baby sweaters. They're small, they're easy to finish, and they're cute. I knit 8 dinner napkins for Tristan. You remember those were a slog. I knit 10 pairs of socks, counting the last 2 pairs. No, I finished 3 pairs. The Christmas socks, Dad's socks, and I'm working on the yellow neon socks. So they're back in action, even though I took probably 2 or 3 months off from sock knitting. So I knit 10 pairs of socks, and then I knit 23 Santa ornaments when you add them all up. Crazy. What was my least enjoyable knit for the year? The least enjoyable knit. I definitely have a lesson I can learn from this. So I knit the Easy Boomerang by Martina Ben. Perfectly good pattern. I actually knit it twice because I enjoyed it so much. But the down roving, you remember that was the one that I was like, it didn't color transition, it was just sharp color breaks. It was neon yellow, bright green, and I didn't like the color. So the learning is that was painful for me to knit, even though the construction made it interesting. I don't wear it, I don't like it, it doesn't bring me joy. It needs to get sent to Webb's, to Lee's, to the shawl collection, because it's just not something that I get joy from. So I need to knit with colors that I enjoy and that are wearable, you know? Like, I love teal. I love it, but in my daily life, I don't wear that much teal, except what I'm wearing right now. I need to knit more grays. I don't like gray, but that's what's highly functional. That's what I find myself buying for sweaters from stores. Neutrals, more neutrals is kind of more where I'm leaning, or what I'm trying to get to. What was my most enjoyable knit of 2015? That would easily, hands down, far and away, you know it, would have to be the first Andrew sweater I knit. So that was for Suzanne's little guy, Liam George. He's very cute. He was born, oh gosh, when was he born? I don't know, before Thanksgiving, mid-November. And he's so cute. He's so cute. Anyway, so that Andrew sweater, I had joy thinking about Suzanne knitting it, knowing that he would look cute in it. It would make her happy. She's not a knitter, so, but she appreciated the value of what I was giving her. And then the construction itself was so much fun. So it was small, it was quick, it was magic. So that's a good one. If I were in a country fair, this is how I was thinking about this. And all of my projects for 2015 were lined up. What would the judges put the blue ribbon on? What would win? What was the best finished object I have for this year? And I would definitely have to say the barn raising quilt, Tristan's barn raising quilt. That is in my mind a piece of art. I absolutely love it. We use it all the time, even though I haven't woven in all the ends. But it's a very nice blanket. It turned out really well. I'm very pleased with my work in that piece, my workmanship. And then what was my most worn finished object of 2015? So the stuff that was finished in January definitely gets a little bit more of an opportunity here than the stuff finished later in the year. But I had a really hard time with this because there are two projects. Yeah, two items I would put into this. The first are my Frankenfingers. The rainbow, very long mitts I knit. I wear them all the time. The fact that they are fingerless, but they have fingers, makes them incredibly warm compared to fingerless mitts. Do you know what I'm saying? Like the ones that are just a tube that end here. Those fingers add a little bit more, and they keep each one of my digits warm. I really like those mitts. I wore them yesterday to shovel off the car, and my hands were nice and toasty warm, even though the tips of my fingers were sticking out. So, love those. And I knit them with opal, so it is a very hard-wearing yarn, and they're not dense. I wouldn't say that, but they're warm. They're wool. So, I'm happy with those. I need to knit another pair for myself. I really want another pair. So there's those, but also my Grace sweater, which is it's green with the tacky Stacy Charles yarn. It was a UFO for, 2 or 3 years, and I finished it this year as part of my getting down my works in progress. The buttons I sewed on it are metal and they're very heavy, but before the buttons went on it, I wore that thing almost every night around the house because the sleeve length is perfect. It hits me at just the right spot on my hips. It's not too long, and it's just the right amount of warmth. It has mesh up here. I don't know. It's just a really good sweater, and the yarn itself contains everything but the kitchen sink. Like, it's 4 or 5 different things together. It's not just wool, and it's not just acrylic. I can't think. I think it maybe has some cotton in it. I don't remember. I think it has some silk in it. Like, it has noils. It's like a tweed textured yarn, so it has lots of things in it. Anyways, it's not scratchy. I can wear it. It's next to skin soft. It's worsted weight. It's very warm, but not too warm. Not like, well, I'm just locking in the heat the way the Miranda sweater does, because that is a dense knit. Yeah, so I really like that sweater, that finished object. And the pattern for that is a fingering weight pattern, and I knit it with worsted weight and shifted things a little bit, so that doesn't always work out well, especially in a garment, but in that case, it did. So, those are my recap. That is my recap of 2015. So, I have one more thing to share with you. I have 2 more things. Should I stop and share them next time? Mission 2015 update. I mean, it's not going to change. And then I also did my 2016 aspirations. This is like a notoriously long episode for Knitting Samurai. And I brought this over because I did want to show you. My brother-in-law and his wife Ryan had commissioned one of their friends to knit or to sew Tristan a name pillow. So we have one for Roland that's bumblebees, and Tristan now has one that's jungles. And he was so cute. It came in the mail, and we opened it up. Maybe I'll put the video in. He took it. I'm gonna put the video.
What's in there?
Looks pretty.
It's Tristan's pillow,
Oh,
just like Roland's.
It's beautiful. Do you like it, Tristan?
Animals.
Oh, are you gonna ride on your tractor?
Are you gonna take it and lay down?
Oh. Letting you guys see the cuteness of it. So, it's really nice. So, I wanted to share that. But now, let's do Mission 2015 update. Quick. Okay. So 12 pairs of socks. I did 75% of my goal and did 9 pairs of socks this year. Barn raising quilt squares, I did 16. Check. I met my goal there. 2 sweaters for me. As I said, I did 3, so check. Sweaters for Roland and Tristan. They both got an Andrews sweater. Check. Completed. And with less. 164 miles of yarn at the end of the year. So 1 year ago today, that's where I was. And today, I'm at 171. So I did pick up more yardage there, so not so great on that one. And then whips, less whips. I had 29. Okay, you ready for this? If I count this, which I will, because it's a project on the needles. I got down to 14 whips, 4 active and... No, 13 whips. 4 active and 9 hibernating. That's great success for me. I've never had so few projects on my needles. So, I'm goal driven. You know me. You know how I like to do it. So, 2016 aspirations. Here they come. These are the official ones I am doing. Keep sharing them. Let's motivate each other. Let's do this. Let's get some things accomplished this year. For me, I'm going to work to knit 10 miles of yarn. So that's 27%. I was like 20% more. No, it's 27% more than last year. I can do it. Barn raising quilt squares. So this is my 3rd year on the barn raising quilt. And I need to knit 29 squares to get to... Let me back up. I'm knitting a leftovers barn raising quilt for myself. That's probably twin size. It's a couch blanket. That's why I'm looking at the couch. It's going to be for the living room for me to use when I'm downstairs, so it doesn't need to fit a bed. So the goal is to do 77 squares, and I am at 48, I think. So I need, or 58? I don't know. I counted. I need to do another 29 this year. So I need to get on that. And the theme of this blanket is my leftover self-striping yarn. So I've done some swaps and I have some great yarn and some great self-striping yarn, but I'm having a hard time incorporating it into this project. So unless I pick up my sock knitting, I'm not going to have enough leftovers. So we'll have to figure that out. Maybe I'll just knit those fingerless Frankenfingers for everyone I know, because I like knitting those. I think they're fun. Anyways, okay. I talk with my hands way too much. I'm sorry. I'm trying to keep them together and down. Knit 6 sweaters for us, for my family, for the Knitting Samurai crew. So whether that be 1 for me and 5 for the boys, or 5 for me and, well, that doesn't work. 4 for me and 2, 1 for each boy. I'll definitely knit 1 for the 3 of us. I know, Steve, he's just left out. He doesn't wear sweaters. He's too hot, and I'm not knitting him one. But I do love him. I'm just knitting for the little boys. I love boy sweaters, and for myself. So that's the goal. 10 pairs of socks this year. I did 10 last year. Let's try and do 10 again this year. I think that should be doable. And not too much pressure on me that I'm focused in on socks. Knit them when I feel like knitting them, and hopefully it adds up to 10. And then I do have some people in mind that the socks will go for. And then I rolled this up and called it Languishing Sweaters. So I have my jackaroo that needs buttons. It's all sewn up. It just needs buttons. And then I have the 3 hibernating sweaters that have been hibernating for more than 2 years that Melissa is screaming at me to frog the peasy. I don't know what to try it on. Yeah, so deal with those. Finish or frog those 4 sweaters, which I'm not going to frog the jackaroo. I just need to finish it. But so that's what's in store for me for 2016, and I hope you have similarly exciting goals and are feeling really motivated and looking forward to a new year of knitting. I am. A couple more days off here in my near future, so I'm gonna do some knitting and enjoy time with my little guys and play some Octonauts. Yep. Yeah. All right. So, have a great 10 days or so, and thanks so much for chatting with me, letting me gush about my house, and putting up with all of my silliness. I really do appreciate you, every single one of you, and you make my life brighter, and I hope I do the same for you, because that's what we're here for, to make each other happy. So, have a great 10 days or so. I'll talk to you soon. Mwah! Happy New Year.